Good evening and welcome to History 411. This evening we're talking about growing the third branch, the judicial branch, and specifically the Supreme Court. You'll be using the handout you should download from my big campus, the chart, and fill out the chart accordingly. But first, before you fill out your chart, understand that Chief Justice John Marshall will lead the Supreme Court in building the foundation blocks for this court's authority to mediate disagreements between branches of government, levels of government, and competing business interests. Now write this down under Marbury versus Madison. What happened? Congress passed the Judiciary Act of 1789, making the court force government workers to do their jobs. Marbury wants to get his job as a federal judge. Madison refuses to give it to him, so they go straight to the Supreme Court. The question and the major issue is, can Congress grant powers not in the Constitution, like the Judiciary Act of 1789? Well, Chief Justice John Marshall says, no, you cannot, and he declares the Judiciary Act of 1789 unconstitutional, and in doing so creates the idea of judicial review. This is how the court mediated branches of government. The next case you should write down is McCulloch v. Maryland. What happens? Maryland wants to tax the National Bank in Maryland. Well, what are the questions? The questions are, 1. Can we have a national bank? And the second question is, if we can Maryland tax the National Bank, which is the federal government? Well, Chief Justice John Marshall says, yes, we can have a national bank. It's through the implied powers. And no, states cannot tax the federal government because the federal government is supreme over them. The last case is Gibbons versus Ogden. Now, Ogden was granted a steamboat license from the state of New York. Gibbons was granted a steamboat license from Congress. The question is, who has the power to issue the license, the state of New York or Congress? And can Congress regulate interstate trade within a state? Well, once again, John Marshall says, Congress can regulate interstate trade, and this created a broader sense of national view of economic affairs, and they mediated between competing business interests. You should complete your chart with all of these, as we will discuss them in class. Good evening.